Hello and welcome to the 2013 Hillsdale College Women's Basketball Preview. My name is Jenna Hilgenbrink and I'm joined by head coach Claudette Charney. Coach, welcome here.
Good morning.
All right, so one thing that really jumps out at me about your roster is the experience. I mean, you only lost one player due to graduation. So what is that experience really, how does that translate into the success of your team?
I would say it's a relief from the standpoint of having quite a few freshmen last year and losing the one player that we lost to graduation. We actually lost halfway through the season. It was our senior point guard. So we recovered from that actually very well towards the end of the season. I think we ended up somewhere along the lines of being 7-5 without Leah. And so we look at this season as they understand. When you have a large class of any size, especially when they're young, it can become difficult because there's a lot to learn, and then you have a lot of players trying to learn. So this year, they already have an idea of what goes on, and so the majority of our team is really in that sophomore, junior class. So the seniors know, and the freshmen, there's only 2. So the learning curve has been a lot faster, and we're light years ahead of where we were a year ago at this time. So we're pretty excited.
That's very good to hear. And now let's start off with your senior class. You got Angela Bassaro, Allison Lloyd, and Marissa DeMott. So how have you seen them improve and mature, not only as players, but as leaders on your team?
As leaders, they've grown a lot. Angela played a lot, started for us. Allison played a lot more at the end of the year last year, and Marissa is coming off of an injury and would be deemed by most people as our best perimeter shooter. So we missed her for the majority of last year also. And so having those 3 back and going at it every day is a welcome sight, and they've grown as people. As we tend to get older, they get smarter, and they're becoming more assertive, which the senior class has to be. They have to be more assertive when it comes down to leadership.
All right, so you're talking about the older girls. Let's go to the next oldest girls, the junior class. You got Megan Fote, Katie Lowry, who were starters, and Brooke Borowski and Chelsea Farrell. So what do you really expect from this class this year?
Well, Megan's got to take another step. Megan was a second-team all-conference player as a post player as a sophomore. She really led our team in most categories last year, kind of came out of the woodwork in development. So she's got to take another step and refine her game a little bit more. Sometimes that can be difficult going from a sophomore year to a junior year when now all of a sudden there's expectation. Katie Lowry is started for us, especially when Leah went down, and is a left-handed 5'10" guard who can really pass the ball and shoot it. So as she continues to get in better condition, she's obviously going to play a prominent role. Brooke Borowski was our 6th man last year as a guard and came off the bench and hit some huge plays for us. I think she had one of her big games was when we were at Michigan Tech early December. She came off the bench and I want to say scored in double figures and really made an impact in keeping the game close. And actually we had a lead at halftime. So, they've understood. They have goals, and they need to take steps to go forward to get better than they were a year ago.
So we know them as players now, but what about their character and their leadership role on the team? What do they do for your team as far as character?
We have great character. I mean, our players, I can't say enough about their character. They're great people. So it makes my life and my job a lot easier because I don't really have to worry. We have our seniors, I think, take care of a lot of things, but overall, character relates to a lot of choices that you make, and our players have, a great work ethic. For the most part, I think they make good choices in what they do. They're good students. They represent our school very well, and they're very proud of where they are. So we're very excited about, who they are as people.
One player who I know has great character and who gets fantastic grades, Megan Fote here. You mentioned that she was second-team all-GLIAC. So what's the next step for her? What do you really want out of her this season?
Well, I think she needs to have a goal of becoming, a first-team all-league player. We've seen, obviously, development from a post player in the past, and we reference her, Katie Czat, and being the National Player of the Year. And she did that with a lot of work and a lot of competitiveness within her. The biggest thing for Megan is she's got to realize really how good she really is. I mean, she's a 3.8 student. She can do whatever she wants to do. So the ball's in her court. She's got to be able to understand and have the confidence and carry that on her shoulders, and walk with a high step, and understand that she really is has great potential as a player, and certainly is a great person.
I think she's going to be a great player for you this year. All right, next class is the sophomore class. They have 7 players. It's a very, very large class. So who are you expecting, or who are you hoping to emerge out of that and become a really significant player for you?
Well, first and foremost, we have Abby Lovett returning. She really should be in the junior class because she tore her ACL a year ago in the summer, so she missed the entire year. And as a freshman, she had some great moments. A 5'10", 5'11" player that can play many positions. She's going to step forward, I think, and learned a lot by sitting out last year. So the entire class really, the great thing about the class is everybody had a chance to play. I think top to bottom, it's a big class, but I think they all had a chance at having experience, and we have to have good guard play, so we have some good guards in that class, and we're going to be, I think, much better defensively. And we also have a new rule. We have a 10-second line, or 10-second rule that comes into play with a 30-second shot clock. So we're both going to see a lot more pressing defenses, and we are going to press a lot more, try to make use of that rule in our depth. So we're very deep. We're constantly talking to them about, you have to perform, and performance from a work ethic standpoint is there. We have great energy. We've had a great week of practice from the standpoint of just being energetic and getting up and down the court. So, we're looking forward to contributions from all of them. I think that everybody on this team can contribute. However, as well as anybody, that you can't play 17 players.
Right.
That's going to be difficult. So we're waiting to see who's going to emerge and how we can help them become the best they can be.
Tell me a little bit about each of these 7 players, just a little bit, what kind of character they have, what positions they play, what we should see from them.
Well, I don't want to really signal any, have anybody step forward, and I think it's difficult to pinpoint, what each player can do, but, we have a gamut of positions. We look forward to contributions from players like Kelsey Cromer and Sarah Toit, who played last year. Kelsey Cromer played with a broken hand for most of the season, especially after Christmas. I think she broke her thumb after Christmas and played with basically a club on her hand for the entire year. So we're looking for just being healthy. Ashlyn, Landhurst started for us at point. Madison Berry had mono last year and is coming back and is been a real force on the floor. So it's a very, very good class. I can't say enough about them. We're kind of waiting to see, what's going to happen and what roles are going to fill. And, we're hoping that everybody has a role and that we're going to be able to play a lot of people and that we're going to win some games.
All right, well, next up in the sequence here, it would be the freshman class. You have 2 guards, Becca Scherting, is that correct? And Caitlin Newsom. So what are your impressions of them since they've arrived on campus?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we're kind of thrown together as roommates, being the only 2 freshmen. It's been so much easier because there's only 2 of them, so they've learned, their learning curve has gone very quickly. Becca comes from a private school in Saginaw Valley Lutheran, and played a prominent role on her high school team that was very successful. And she played actually against Miss Basketball, who was in her league that went to Michigan State. So she can guard people. Caitlin is a bit the opposite. She's a shooter. She's known as a shooter. Played point guard on her team, and really had to be on her team, had to be on the floor in order for their team to be successful. And is from Kentucky, so she's from a little distance. And it's just fun. They're fun people, and they both bring different aspects of the game, and they've both adjusted. And what's really been very interesting is how quickly they've adjusted, and they've grown. September is hard. The first term freshman year is really hard, both academically and learning the curve on the floor and off the floor and the conditioning and all of that. So they've done very well. They've made huge strides very quickly. So we felt we had to have depth, at the point guard position. We felt like we had to have be able to rotate players in that position to give us a different look. And they can play more than one position, which is I guess, the case for most of our kids.
All right, so looking at more of a big picture sense in the GLIAC, who are the teams to beat? And I will guarantee you that you will be bringing up Ashland, the defending national champion. So let's go into that a bit.
Well, Ashland's in our division. This will be the last year we're in the South Division for a little while anyway. And so, you know, obviously they're our rival. Sue Ramsey's a great coach. She's a good friend of mine. You know, they had a great team. They had what I would hope we would have, at least eventually, is a person that their player of the year who really was the heart and soul of their team and the glue. You basically couldn't stop her. It didn't make any difference what position she was playing. So very similar to Katie Czak when we had her and we won the championship in '09. So, you know, yes, Ashland, because until they prove differently, they're the reigning champion and obviously the reigning national champion. So I would say them in the South for sure. Wayne is going to be very good because they went the transfer route and basically, you know, have 4 or 5 Division I transfers on their team. So they're going to be a viable force, I think, being in the North. And then Grand Valley, you know, is going to be a little bit younger, but they're going to be, I think, pretty good. And you know, the whole stalwarts of Michigan Tech and Northern Michigan was young last year and fairly successful. So it's a tough league top to bottom. There isn't anybody that you can look at and say, oh, we're just going to walk on the floor and win. It doesn't happen in our division or in our league.
Absolutely. It sounds like you got a tough conference ahead of you, but you got some good girls on the team. So overall, what are your goals for your team as a whole?
Our goals are to be very, very competitive, to learn how to win the close game, to get to the conference tournament first and foremost. We haven't missed it in the 12 years I've been here. We've only missed it twice, last year being one. So that's our first and foremost goal. We want to win games. We're trying to prepare them to win games. A lot of it is going to be up to them. This is the fun part of the year because, you know, we don't have a starting 5 or a top 10 or whatever yet. That's when it gets hard because you have to learn how to accept a role and then be ready to be on the court if something happens, or you know, you're going to be thrown into a situation where you want to score that basket to win or make the free throw to win. So preparation's everything. So we're trying to prepare them. They're doing a great job in preparation. They're very, very positive, and we're trying to be as positive as we can. We all need to change a little bit, and we need to go forward with just an emphasis in we're going to get after people. We are just going to absolutely get after people. And if we can do that and stay healthy, I think we'll be a pretty good team.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it very much. So thank you, Coach, for joining me.
You're welcome.
And thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.